Hey y'all, it's Miss A. Today we're going to be looking at histograms. This is part of our data representation unit. We're going to be looking at a lot of different representations: histograms, stem and leaf, box plots, dot plots, all this stuff. Histograms is pretty easy. It's not too bad. Kind of looks like it's a bar graph basically, but it looks a little bit different than a typical bar graph. So let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully y'all find this pretty easy. Then you'll have 2 IXL skills to work on for today. All right, so the first one says histograms. Give you the definition of it. Histograms is a special type of bar graph. Special type of bar graph used to show the frequency of data using equal intervals. So frequency is just how often that it occurs, like how many times do these range of numbers come up, or whatever it may be. In a histogram, there are no gaps or spaces. I'll put spaces. There are no spaces between the bar. Typically, in a bar graph, y'all have got that blank space in between the individual bars. In a histogram, all the bars touch. So what this does is it shows that the data is continuous. So by having the bars touch each other, it shows that that data is continuous from the beginning to the end of that data. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The first couple examples we're going to do is actually creating a histogram from a data set. Again, it's not too bad. I'm going to zoom in so we can see these a little bit better. Focus. All right, so it says an employee at a craft store counted the number of red buttons in each bag of mixed buttons. Use the data to complete the histogram below. So we have all of these numbers, 36. Notice that they're not in order, okay? That's the first thing I would do, would be put them in order, just like we do with any data set. And then it says we have this graph down here with the intervals already given to me. So this interval is 0 to 19, 20 to 39, 40 to 59, 60 to 79, and 80 to 99. So what we're going to do first is we're going to put this data in order. You should always do that with any data set that you're given. So my smallest number is 9. There's actually 2 of them. So I'm going to put 9, 9. Now my smallest value is the tens, which is 17. There's no more tens. Now I'm looking for 20s, which there are none. 30s. There are a couple of them here. There's 30 there, 30 there. Okay. So the least to greatest would be 36 and then 38. Cross them off. Next would be 40s. I've got 40 there, 40 there, 40 there. All right, so the least to greatest would be 42. And then I have 2 46s. I crossed them off. And then we have 50s. So 58, I don't want y'all to be able to see, 58 and 59. And then we have 160 of 61. And then we have our 80s. I'm trying to get them all in one thing. 80 and 88. I can't see the 88 up here. Just a little bit too shy. Okay. All right. I'm going to count them, make sure I didn't miss any. I don't think I did. I crossed them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, good. All right, so now what I'm going to do to make my histogram is I'm going to figure out how many of these data values fall within these ranges. So here we're looking for 0 all the way up to 19. So 17, 36, that's going to stop here. That's my first interval. And then 20 to 39. So starting at 20, stopping at 39. 40 is too big. So there's my second interval. 40 to 59. So 40, 59. And then 60 to 79. 67, no, that's a little bit too big. 80 is just a little bit too big. And then 80 to 99 would be those 2 values. So now all I'm going to do to make my bar is I'm going to shade in how many times it occurred. So this is the number of bags. So for that first range of 0 to 19, we had 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go up to 3. And I can shade in my bar. And then for 20 to 39, there was 2. So here's 2. Shade it in. 40 to 59, that was here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's all the way at the top here. So you can notice as I'm doing this, my bars are touching each other. That's what a histogram has. And then 60 to 79 was just that one value. If one of the intervals doesn't have any values, you can leave it blank. It's okay if there is a gap. That just shows that there wasn't any. The frequency for that one was 0. Okay, so it's okay to have a gap here if there's no values in that range. But here we do have 61, so there's one value. And then for the last one, it was 2 values, so I'm going to go up to the number 2. And that is it. That's how we make a histogram. Very simple. All right, let's do one more together. All right, we've got our data. It says the machine dispensed red gumdrops into a bag of various sizes. Here are my sizes. Oh, they were very nice. Here, look, everything is actually already in order for us. That's very nice. 1 through 25, and they're all in order. Perfect. That saves me some time. All right, so now we're going to go down here. We're going to focus on our intervals. Our first interval is 1 to 5. So 5 needs to be my biggest number. So 11, we're going to stop there. 6 to 10. So 10 has to be my biggest at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Notice there's no values here. 11 is actually in this next interval. So 11 to 15. So stopping at 15. So that's only those two. 16 through 20. Not 23. And then 21 through 25 is everything else here. All right, so we have to be careful here because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sections we've created, but there's 5 sections down here. So we need to make sure that we don't fill in the wrong one. So this is 1 to 5. So that is 1, 2, 3 values. So go up to the number 3. Shade it in. 6 to 10. There was no values because this was 11. So the values for 6 to 10 were none. So we're going to leave it blank. That's fine. 11 to 15. There were 2. 16 to 20, there were 2 values. And then the last one was 21 to 25, that was 4 values. So go up to the 4. In these cases, you could just count the boxes, but again, remember there's this y-axis over here that we can look at to determine. So it was at 4, goes over, these were at 2, and this one was at 3. And that's it, guys. Again, it's okay that there is a gap here. This means there was no data in that interval. That's okay. Don't worry about that. It's okay to have it blank. You have to include that interval though. You couldn't just take it out and skip from 1 to 5 to 11 to 15. You have to include it and show that that the frequency was 0. All right. So that's your first IXL skill. They're going to give you a data set, and you're going to have to create the histogram. Now, on the first, this was actually like when you get up to that, what's the word? When you get to 90, the challenge zone. This was the challenge zone questions where you had to create the whole thing. On what you're going to have to do is probably just figure out one missing section. You have to figure out how many fall in that section and then fill in that one bar. That's your first IXL skill. The next one is you're going to be interpreting the data. So they're going to give you a histogram already complete and done, and you have to figure out the answers to the questions. So notice our histogram here says the number of children who visited the zoo. And this is the age group. The age group at the bottom, so 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 9 to 10, 11 to 12. And then the number of children is my y-axis right here. So 0 all the way up to the number 80. And they gave me the values here. So for children 5 to 6, there were 71. 7 to 8, there were 63. 9 to 10, there were 44. And then 11 to 12, there were 58. So the first question says, which age group had the most children visit the zoo? So which one had the most? That is the one with the highest number. So that age group was 5 to 6. How many children between 7 and 10 visited the zoo? So 7 is here and 10 is here. So we want both of these values together. So that's 63 and 44. So 63, 44. We have to do a little bit of adding here to figure out the how many there were all together, because that was 2 intervals. So 7 and then 10. So 107 children. I can put children to have that label. 107 children. Again, that age group was not an interval that we were given. 7 to 10 was actually two intervals together, so we had to add those two numbers up. All right, number 3, how many children, how many more children are there from the 5 to 6 age group than the 9 to 10 age group? So 5 to 6 was this one, put a little star here, and then the, what was it, 9 to 10? So how many more tells me, I want to know how many more were in this one than they were in this one. So we're actually going to subtract those two numbers. So I'm going to do it here, 71 minus 44. So I have to borrow, that becomes a 6, that becomes an 11. So 11 minus 4 is 7, and then 6 minus 4 is 2. So 27 more in the 5 to 6 group. Number 4 says how many children older than 8 visited the zoo. So we don't want 8, we want everyone older than 8. So here's 8, but I want this group and this group because those two intervals are older than 8. So we need to figure out both of these together. So we're going to add 58 and 44. 8 and 4 make 12. 5 and 1 makes 6, plus 4 makes 10. So 102. How many children visited? Were 8. Well, not 8. We want older than 8. Over 8. It didn't include 8. So sometimes we have to add the two intervals together. Sometimes we have to subtract. And the last one says how many total children visited the zoo. So total children would be all of these intervals together, or all these values together. So we're going to take 71, 63. I'm going to do it in well, I'll show you. 44 and then 58. So instead of adding all of these up together, like, and making the mistake of accidentally adding wrong, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break them into two smaller groups, 71 and 63, 44 and 58. I'm less likely to make a mistake when I'm adding two numbers compared to adding 4. I'm going to add these two together individually and then combine them at the end. So we get 4, that is 13, and then here we get 12, that is 10, and then I'm going to take these two values and combine them now. So 134, 102, so we get 6, 3, and 2. So 236 total children. And that is it, guys. Just interpreting the data from a histogram. So determining, am I focusing on just one of my intervals? Am I focusing on, do I need to add two intervals or subtract them, depending on what the question's asking? This is your second iExcel skill for today. So if y'all have any questions while you're working on it, please don't hesitate to hop on Zoom so I can help you. If not, y'all have a great day. Make sure you get them both done with an 80 or higher, though. Y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.